Crypto rebounding today as we see Bitcoin up almost 2%, Ethereum up almost 2%, Total 3, which is altcoin markets excluding Ethereum, up over 2%. Could the bears fall way short of its breakdown target out of this huge bearish flag I've been mentioning? If so, then we could be seeing new all-time highs sometime soon. But crypto is not out of the woods yet. I'm going to be talking to you guys what's happening on the charts, what to be paying attention to, especially in terms of the daily candle closes. We're still at a very key support level right here. We need to continue upwards in order to break out of the zone. The next key levels or resistance to be paying attention to is going to be about that 115K level right now. So let's see what the bulls do. Let's see if we're actually able to rebound from this huge breakdown here, which could potentially still take us to 80K Bitcoin, about 80,000 Bitcoin, okay? And that's going to be catastrophic for the altcoins. We're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin videos, setups in this video, which will include AIOZ, Degen, as well as Aster, and see what's happening in some of these coins. What has changed since the last time I've talked about them? Are their trading patterns still intact from last time? Has their price targets changed? Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the charts. But first of all, we're going to be digging into some news first. Major economics and crypto news. Let's go ahead and dive into the news first. I'll give you guys my instant reaction and we can get back into the charts. This is by You Today. No, Bitcoin price to $1 million can't quickly happen, Samson Mo. Yeah, I mean, that's not going to quickly happen, okay? I think it's going to take a couple of cycles. Maybe at least 2 cycles, in my opinion. Because assuming that we get to maybe 200,000 Bitcoin this cycle, then, and if we double every cycle, that is, then it will still take us at least 2 cycles, okay? Maybe we could tap $1 million, right? So yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen for sure this cycle, right? You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Next one is by Cointelegraph. These key support levels can help Bitcoin avoid a bear flag crash to 88,000. So I think this analyst is talking about almost the same bear flag I've been talking about, except, I'm calling it a rising wedge. He could call it a bear flag. Let's take a look into some key points here. The emergence of a bear flag on the daily chart. Okay, on the daily chart projects a Bitcoin price drop to 88,000. Let me see what he's talking about here. Do I see a bear flag? Okay, it's gotta be, if it's a bear flag, it's gotta be something like this. Okay, could it be this that he's talking about? Okay, so that could be the case. That could be a bear flag. Well, that's too short of a bear flag, actually. I mean, that could be the case. But this is a little bit lopsided of a bear flag. So I'm not seeing it. Okay, I'm not seeing this as a bear flag. But, we see different things in the charts. I'm just going to point out to you guys what I see. Okay, but I don't see a bear flag here. But I do see a breakdown. Still, that is still technically in play out of that huge rising wedge pattern on the weekly time frame. Okay. Traders said BTC price may drop as low as 97.5 if key support levels are broken. We do still have quite a few key support levels here. One of which, of course, that we're immediately on is the daily 200 SMA at about 108,000. It looks like we're holding above that right now. Very important we hold above that. Otherwise, we could be dropping down to 102,000, which is the weekly 50 SMA. And I don't expect that to be very strong support, okay? Because we have been tapping that support for, this will be the 3rd time if we actually go down to it, okay, in this trend. Next piece here is by NewsBTC. 16,000 ancient Bitcoins just moved and it's costing whales millions. Let's look into this. Where has it moved to? A cluster of long idle Bitcoin moved back into circulation Wednesday, raising fresh questions about selling pressure as prices slide from recent highs. Okay, so that could be concerning because if it moved into circulation, I'm assuming that this person is either talking about it moved into exchanges. That is the first thing that comes to mind when I see news like this, right? Into circulation. Could these bitcoins be could it be actually selling on the market? If it does, then that could produce quite a bit of pressure, selling pressure. Okay, let's go ahead. If you guys want to read any more of this news into more detail, it is in TradingView. I have an affiliate link in the description section below. It does support my channel if you sign up using my link. Next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Ledger and Trezor 2025 hardware wallets release. What's new for users? Now, I don't have one of these hardware wallets. My approach to crypto is purely trading. Okay, I am not a holder, right? So I exit and I cash out, right? That's how I exit, and that's otherwise it's on the exchanges. I'm not endorsing that. I know a lot of people say that it's not the most safe, but I am just trading, right? And whenever I trade, and I close out my trades and I want to cash out, I just basically cash out to my bank. That's basically it. I don't hold crypto. I trade crypto. Okay, but if you guys do anything different, of course, then you might want to look into some of these hardware wallets because they are a lot safer, right? From my understanding. Now, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. This is by ZY Crypto. CZ's bold claim. Former Binance CEO predicts Bitcoin will flip gold's $30 trillion market cap. Yeah, I don't doubt it in the future, but I don't think it's happening this bull cycle. I don't think it's happening next bull cycle. But in the future, I don't doubt it. Okay, I am bullish on crypto, right? I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. And I still think this bull cycle is still very much on. So my opinions on this market are bullish right now still. I'll tell you guys when I change my opinions. But these are just my opinions only. Like the entirety of this video, it's not financial advice. You guys gotta form your own opinions and strategies. Let's go ahead and go to the charts. Okay, the charts here. Daily time frame. Very important. We hold above 108,000. Why is that? Because the daily 200 SMA, the orange line, that is our key support right now. Even if we break that support though, there is still a very possible bullish divergence scenario if we actually take a look at the RSI here. If we actually close below 106.5, very possible bullish divergence if you take a look into daily time frame RSI. But we do have an immense amount of resistance at about that 115,000 level, right? You have your daily moving averages also there, right? So that is basically what I'm seeing. And if we actually pass that level, we have to get above, basically back into this rising wedge pattern, depending on the timing, because rising wedge retests, breakdowns and retests are kind of tricky because we have a rising bottom trend line. I will update you guys on what I see if we get there sometime soon, if and when. So, like I said, Bitcoin did break out of this short-term falling wedge pattern. Price target would be about 122.5 thousand. That is the price target for this breakout here. Price targets are estimates only. So, there could be more, there could be less. However, also have to consider this breakdown target as well. There are basically two targets in play. Let's see which one plays out. Because the downside target is going to be much steeper. It's going to be almost 80,000, and that would take the altcoins down as well. So, very important to be paying attention to Bitcoin because it is the driver of this crypto market. It is the first chart I pay attention to. Even if I'm trading altcoins, okay? So let's go ahead and go to altcoins. First of all, we're going to be taking a look into AIOZ. I want to mention that there are charts here that goes with this market, this coin, and any other coins I talk about, that there are charts here I have invalidated because the chart patterns have been invalidated or the price targets have been met. Now, with the case of AIOZ here, I did talk about a falling wedge pattern here, right here. This is on the daily time frame, okay? That got invalidated because it broke to the downside and basically it retested it and it broke down some more. Now, you're going to see quite a bit of falling wedges or wedges in general. There's going to be the falling wedge, there's going to be a rising wedge, there's going to be falling channels, and there's going to be rising channels. They work pretty much the same way, right? Falling wedges and channels are bullish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Rising wedges are bearish patterns. Rising wedges and channels are bearish patterns that usually break to the downside. Okay, so if you guys been following my channel, you guys know that there's quite a bit of falling wedges. Okay, that is probably the most common pattern you guys will see, especially in bull cycles. Okay, or reversal cycles after a long downtrend. Now, what I'm seeing here for AIOZ network is a breakdown of this falling wedge pattern that I talked about. So we're gonna have to take away those trend lines. What happens when patterns get invalidated? I look for the chart here and see if there's any type of recharting that needs to be done, and it could potentially validate another pattern here. And in this case, it does. Okay. First of all, I have recharted the longer time frame here, a longer time range here. There is a bigger falling wedge pattern, okay, that has been forming since May, and that has basically been validated by the crash 2 Fridays ago. Okay, that huge crash. Okay, this falling wedge pattern price targets. You take the measurement of the opening of the pattern. Definitely learn how to take price targets. It is open knowledge, right? And why is that important? Because traders will look for price targets to take profits, okay, if price action gets there after a breakout. Now, the price target, if it breaks out by this point, for example, price target here would be about 69 cents AIOZ, okay? So, price targets, again, are estimates only. There could be more or less, okay? A lot of which does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping, these altcoin setups, they're not gonna matter very much, okay? Now, let's also take a look into a smaller time frame here. There's a smaller falling wedge pattern here, okay? There is bullish divergence on the daily time frame RSI. Bullish divergence usually means that there's a higher chance of a reversal or a bounce coming. In this case, if it actually breaks out by this point, for example, so there's quite a few of bullish signals happening here, right? You have your falling wedges and you have your bullish divergence. And then price target here would be about 25 cents if it breaks out by this point, for example. Always have to mind the downside risk as well, because I've seen these bullish patterns break to the downside, okay? And I've seen bearish patterns break to the upside. But we're all just talking about probabilities here, okay? They have a lower chance of happening, but they do happen. Let's go ahead and go to Aster. See what's happening with this coin. It is a relatively new coin that has, very limited data, but there is still enough data to perform technical analysis, because technical analysis, you need 3 candles on a time frame to validate a trend line. And when you have, in this case, 2 trend lines, that would make a wedge, right? And this is the daily time frame for Aster. I do want to say that there has been an invalidation of the last pattern I talked about. That was a breakdown of a falling wedge pattern. Since then, it has formed a another falling wedge pattern here. It looks like it could potentially break out. Now, the price target, if it breaks out by this point, for example, price target here would be about $1.75 almost for Aster. That is still a pretty significant move for a bigger altcoin like this. Let's see if it actually meets that price target. Daily 21 SMA is going to be your next key. It's one of the key resistances on this time frame at about $1.48, the blue line. So let's see what Aster does. Let's go ahead and go to Degen, see what's happening with Degen. Let's take a look into let's take a look into the daily time frame here. I talked about a falling wedge pattern. Okay, that is still valid. Still valid falling wedge pattern. It is in the mid section of that pattern there. That means if this thing continues falling, it could still potentially fall pretty steeply, right? So something to be mindful of. However, like I said, falling wedge patterns have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Let's see if it actually breaks to the upside here on this swing. There's quite a bit of bullish divergence on this daily time frame as well. Okay, if you guys see, we see equal or lower lows on the price action chart, but you see equal or higher lows on the RSI. That could be playing out right now. Now, I do also want to mention that on the 12-hour time frame here, there is a double bottom scenario that is in play, that is with the neckline to be about 0.00214. Okay, that is the neckline of this double bottom pattern. Double bottoms are also bullish patterns that have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. Let's see if this one does, and potentially work towards its upper trend line here. Okay, so let's go ahead and so this is basically it for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of Degen, Aster, AIOZ, or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to you for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.